Hi, I'm Z, and today we're going to be talking about systems thinking, a topic that is close to my heart. And in fact, I actually did a few videos where systems thinking was the underlying topic behind it. And I'll start first with a quote by an author called James Clear, who wrote a book called Atomic Habits. And he says that you do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. And when he said that, what he meant is in order to achieve sustained performance, you need more than just ambition. You actually need a system of habits and practices to keep it going. I also did another video on the topic of wicked problems, and these are problems that have very complex interdependencies between different elements. And much like a tangled up piece of string, it's not easy to sort out because you can pull one end, but what you often end up doing is making it a lot worse. Underlying both of these previous videos is the whole idea of systems thinking. Systems thinking is a way of solving problems by looking at the bigger picture. And there are a few key ideas in systems thinking. The first one is that you don't look at individual elements or objects. Instead, you tend to focus on dependencies and relationships between those different elements. And those elements can be phenomenon, or it could also be actors, people. You also, in systems thinking, tend to appreciate that the whole is more than just the sum of its parts, because you get emergent behavior when all these different parts come together and start interacting. Systems thinking also asks us to think in terms of non-linear causations, where A causes B causes C is how we would usually view the world. But in systems thinking, you tend to have feedback loops where A causes B, B causes C, but C also causes A. And feedback loops come in two flavors, where you can have balancing loops that kind of stabilize, or you can have reinforcing loops where if you do something, you get more of the thing. And finally, systems thinking also allows you to sort of step back and understand that systems evolve. So they require you to think about systems in motion in a dynamic sense rather than static. And this is important because quite often in real world systems, you have delays in the causal link between things. So A causes B, but there may be a delay after A happens before B happens. And that can be quite difficult to see when you have a whole bunch of other things instead of just A, B, and C. So that's some of the key principles behind how system thinking works. And I want to introduce this image that I have up there on the screen that is the iceberg. And the iceberg is a way of actually recognizing that the things that you see, the events, are only at the surface level. Underneath those events, there are patterns and trends, but those patterns and trends themselves are actually shaped by structures that in turn result of values and beliefs and mindsets that people have that cause that structure to appear in the first place. So this whole picture of the iceberg is something that an author called Donella Meadows, a systems thinker, has actually turned on its side and actually used it to think about if you want to effect a change in a system to shift the outcome, where do you apply pressure so that you can lever the system to move? And you can address it at the surface level in terms of the events, but you can also spend a bit more effort to address the more fundamental elements that help you drive a more impactful change. So we're going to be looking at how to apply systems thinking in a data-specific problem, a space that I work in, and let's go. Part of the benefit of adopting a systems thinking perspective for problem solving is that you begin to spot patterns. Now, we've talked about feedback loops a little bit earlier. In systems thinking, what you can do is that quite often you see feedback loops combined in a way that you begin to get archetypes, patterns that repeat themselves, even if the content and the subject matter is a little bit different. So I'm going to be walking through one particular archetype called shifting the burden, and we're going to be using data quality as the example. But you may find, as I explained this, that you've seen this kind of thing play out in other scenarios. So this is made up of two balancing loops that kind of try to balance themselves out, and one reinforcing loop that as the more you do it, the bigger it becomes. And you start with bad data quality. And obviously, when you have quality of data that's poor, you want to try and understand why, and you should be looking at some of the root causes. This could be everything from ownership of that data, how you do master data management, how do you ensure that the first time entry of that information is correct. The problem is there is a bit of a delay in doing these fundamental improvements to the time that the quality of that data improves. So what happens more often than not is you end up having symptomatic fixes, because this is what it takes to actually keep up with the pace of the business. And you may have users out there in the front lines downloading something from a source system, could be an ERP, building a custom spreadsheet, and everybody loves Excel. It is the tool of choice for data management. I'm not even being ironic here. And you start cleansing it that way, and it solves the problem. It solves the specific problem that that frontline user is facing, and it addresses the quality issue. But what it also does is that it creates this perception that data quality it's just bad. It's just going to be that way. It's diffuse, and it's really just some technical thing. We'll let the IT team, we'll let the data team deal with it. We've got a business to run. And that actually feeds in to making the root cause fixes even harder to implement, because people keep on doing more symptomatic fixes. So the benefit of viewing things with a systems thinking lens is that you begin to be able to step back and spot patterns and look at the dynamics between all the different interacting players, processes, and in the context of the trying to find the right lever to pull, you could address the top of the iceberg that we talked about in terms of what you can see. So you can do things around, let's improve the master data management tool. Let's put more controls in how people input data or change data. And that's not a bad thing, that works, but you could also go deeper into the iceberg and start to address structural changes around ownership. Is it clear in your organization who is accountable for the quality of the data? They may not be the people inputting the data, but if the data is bad, is there a natural owner of that data? And you could go even deeper to actually address the beliefs and values that drive certain thinking patterns. So this whole piece around perception, is data really seen as an asset in your organization? If it is, are we treating it in a way that you would treat any other asset, where you need to keep it maintained, you need to actually give it the right amount of care and attention? And that's usually really difficult, because it takes quite a lot to shift that kind of mindset. So the whole piece around systems thinking helps you step back, identify these kind of interactions, and help you make decisions about what to do. Now, you might be asking, that's great, Z, but how does this help me? I have a data quality problem, what do I do? And fortunately, there is no silver bullet. So much like how if you are a doctor and you're treating somebody with a heart condition, you're going to need to do both. You're going to need to have symptomatic fixes. You're also going to need to have foundational fixes. You're going to have to prescribe medicine so the person doesn't fall over. But at the same time, you're also going to give him advice about lifestyle changes, about eating healthier, quit smoking, drink less coffee. And it's going to be a combination of both. but having that kind of systems thinking approach where you can think about, do you address the top event? Do you address the structures that led to it? Do you address the fundamental mindsets that shape that structure and cause those patterns and events to occur? That's quite useful. So I hope that you learned a thing or two about how system thinking works, and you might want to try it out the next time you have a challenge. If you enjoy this kind of content, don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.